All right, let's talk about money. Ready to finally get a handle on your finances? Today, we're going to tackle your very first budget, but we're doing it with a bit of a twist. We're going to follow this prudent primate on his journey to figure out how to manage his money, or, in his case, his leaves.
Okay, so right off the bat, I know what you're thinking. A monkey? But here's the thing. Monkey is all of us. Seriously. If you've ever, and I mean ever, looked at your bank account and just thought, wait, where did it all go? Then yeah, you know exactly how this little guy feels. So what was Monkey's big problem? Oh, it's a classic for sure. He was just blowing way too many of his hard-earned leaves on shiny rocks. You know what I'm talking about. Those little impulse buys that feel so good in the moment. And then there were the fancy vine swinging lessons. All those non-essential things that just add up so fast. Ringing any bells?
So Monkey comes up with a plan. It's a really simple, clear challenge for himself. He's going to try to live on just 10 leaves a day for a whole month, or, 30 moons. This is basically day one of his financial journey, and hey, we're going to follow him every step of the way.
All right, Monkey's first big lesson it's a huge one. This is a concept that literally affects every single one of us every single day. He's got to figure out the real value of a leaf.
And the big, bad culprit here? It's called inflation. I know, it sounds like some super complicated, boring economic term, but the idea is actually really simple. It just means your leaves, your cash, are worth less and less over time, all because the cost of stuff you want, like bananas, just keeps going up and up.
And check this out. This is a perfect example. Last month, one single leaf could buy Monkey 2 whole bananas. Pretty good, right? Well, this month, that same exact leaf only gets him 1. He didn't lose any leaves, but his power to buy stuff just got cut in half. That, right there, is inflation doing its thing.
So how do you fight that? Well, for Monkey, it means going back to square one, back to the absolute basics. He has to get a grip on the two sides of his budget. His income, that's all the leaves he brings in, and his expenses, that's all the leaves going out for everything from rent on his hollow log to, of course, those bananas.
Okay, so now he gets the basic layout of the battlefield, right? Income versus expenses. But now he needs a survival guide. This next part is all about the smart, practical moves he makes every day to avoid all those financial traps just waiting for him out there in the jungle.
His number one strategy is something called arbitrage. And look, don't get thrown by the fancy word, okay? It's really not that complicated. It's something we can all do. It just means being a savvy shopper. Finding the absolute best price for the stuff you need. Bottom line, buy your bananas where they're cheap.
So now he's got a clear choice. He could wander over to the Monkey Mall, you know the type, fancy banana restaurants, luxury snacks, everything's super expensive. Or he could go to the local jungle stand, and guess what? He gets the exact same bananas, but for way fewer leaves. Now that is a smart move.
All right, next up, he's got to face one of the biggest, sneakiest traps in the entire jungle, the leaf card. Yeah, you guessed it. It's his credit card. It feels like magic, right? Like free money. It lets him buy all the bananas he wants right now, even when he can't actually afford them. But all he's really doing is borrowing from the big old monkey bank.
And here's where it gets really dangerous. Interest. If Monkey doesn't pay back the leaves he borrowed on time, the bank starts charging him extra. And that debt, it doesn't just sit there quietly. Oh no, it grows like a weed, and it will absolutely choke the life out of his finances if he lets it.
So this is a pretty good moment to just pause and ask yourself that same question honestly. Is your leaf card, your credit card, growing weeds in your wallet? Because just seeing the weeds, just recognizing they're there, that's always the first step to finally pulling them out.
Okay, so after all that talk about traps and weeds, let's get to the good stuff, the rewarding part. This is where all of Monkey's hard work really starts to pay off, and we get to watch his financial health just start to bloom.
And the way we keep score in this game, it's called net worth. The formula is super simple. You just take all your assets, that's all the valuable stuff you own, and subtract your liabilities, which is just a fancy word for all the stuff you owe. And the goal, obviously, is to make that final number go up, up, up.
And just look at this table. It shows his incredible progress. I mean, on day 1, his main asset was some shiny banana jewelry. Kind of useless, right? And he was drowning in high-leaf card debt. But fast forward to day 30, and he's traded that junk for a real asset, a growing banana tree that actually produces more for him. And his debt? Way down. That's not just progress, that's a total transformation.
You know, a massive part of this whole turnaround was just a change in his thinking, his mindset. Monkey finally learned to stop aping in, I love that, to every single new trend he saw. He had this big realization that trying to keep up with all the other monkeys was the very thing keeping him broke. So he just started focusing on his own path, his own goals.
And by doing that, by focusing on himself, Monkey totally avoided what you could call a personal trade deficit. That's that financial red zone, right? The danger zone, where you're spending more leaves than you're earning. By the end of his 30-day challenge, he was solidly in the green, bringing in more than was going out. Beautiful.
So the big question is, how can you do this? Well, this last section is all about that. We've boiled down all of Monkey's lessons into a super simple guide for you to become a smart ape with your own money.
And here it is, the Smart Ape's 4-step plan. It's so simple. Number 1, know your leaves. You got to track your income and expenses. Number 2, shop smart. Always find that local jungle stand. 3, tame the leaf card. Get rid of that high-interest debt. And 4, build your branch. Make it your mission to grow your net worth.
And look, here's how you actually do that day in and day out. These are the daily habits. Track every single leaf you spend. Always compare prices before you buy. And before you pull out your wallet, just stop and ask yourself, is this a shiny rock or is this a banana? Pay down that leaf card debt as fast as you can. And hey, don't forget to enjoy the simple things, the stuff that doesn't cost a thing.
Because what's the whole point of this? The ultimate goal of all this saving and budgeting, it isn't just to have a big pile of leaves sitting around. No, it's to have extra leaves that you can put to work. You can invest them so that your leaves start to grow more leaves all on their own, even while you're just sleeping.
And just remember, this isn't something you have to do all by yourself. You're not alone on this journey. This stuff can be really tough, I get it, but learning and growing together, well, that's what makes everyone stronger. Apes together strong, right? Sharing what works, keeping each other on track, that's how we all get ahead.
So, let's wrap this up with one last question, just for you. Think about Monkey's whole story, from blowing his leaves on impulse buys to being a smart saver. To get started on your own journey, right now, what's the first shiny rock you're going to give up? What's that one small, totally unnecessary thing you can cut out? Just deciding on that one thing, that's your first step.